So give me, yeah, so we got that set up. One more. Give me one more second. I'm trying to get this set up so we don't need to like do anything. I'm trying my best, guys, so give me a couple minutes and then we will get into the video. I'm gonna try and set it up, and it's pretty hard. So this, I'm not going to put, okay. Give me one more second. One more sec. I'm going to delete those videos that I get posted. And we're going to talk about NHL 19 in this video. Hopefully we can delete the videos that I don't post. NHL Hut, NHL Talk About, NHL Talk About. I'm going to delete these. So this is going to be the final video. So I'm going to try to post it on this merch. You guys can chat, you guys can do anything. I will still see it. And let me see about my phone. See if you guys can see it. Pretty good. So yeah, you guys can see it. I'm going to hit play. And we're going to not talk till it. You guys can watch it. Tell me if you like this or my OBS settings. Okay? Let me know in the descriptions below. But watch it. In this one. OBS will be tomorrow.
Hey guys, this is Gurn Sumal, Game Modes producer on NHL 19, and I am here to show you our awesome new franchise mode scouting that we're introducing to this year's game. I'm super stoked about this. It's going to be quite a change from our previous year's scouting. Those of you that play the mode quite frequently, you'll know that our scouting in years past, you would have one scout, he'd travel the world and go from league to league and scout players. With this year's game, we've now introduced the ability to sign up to 20 scouts, both amateur and or pro. And you'll also have the ability to hire fire scouts throughout the year, as well as the CPU will also hire and fire scouts. I wanted to show you guys just how much of a difference our individual scouts are this year compared to the previous years. I'll open up the scout card here, and the first thing you'll notice here is the amount of ratings that we have for the scouts. We went from 1 rating to 20 plus ratings this year. So they have 2 different sets of abilities, one being their evaluation abilities, which is everything from how well do they evaluate a player's shooting to their puck control, puck skills, that type of thing, as well as the ability to also assess character of the player, the efficiency, how efficient they are at scouting, as well as how good they are at discovering prospects. And then there's a second layer to that as well, which is how familiar they are with a region. The more familiar they are with the region, the more efficient they become, the more accurate the information becomes. So you really want to put scouts in areas where they excel at. Now, at the same time, you'll also notice that scouts will grow in certain areas as they spend more time there, but at a cost of potentially losing some abilities losing some familiarity with an area that they were familiar with before. So it's ever evolving. They'll get better and worse at sort of where they like to scout as you assign them out. You'll also be able to assign scouts to the various regions, from the SHL Liga to the NHL Atlantic Pacific divisions. From there, once you have your scout assigned, you'll also be able to then assign report types. So we've added brand new report types. So before you would have just the one report. Now we've added up to 6 different report types for amateur, including finding prospects, scouting specific players. And when you go into scout specific players here, you'll be able to do playing style, strengths and weaknesses, skills assessment, character assessment, potential and comparison. That last report sort of combined into one. So each of these has its own unique thing, and I'll get into that in a little bit once I show you the view draft class screen. From here, you'll know that once you assign your scout out, so in this case, the scout was set to auto scout, and he is now scouting in the SHL for a few players. You then exit out the screen and you'd be heading into the view draft class screen. The view draft class screen is completely changed from the previous years, where it's now surfacing a lot more information. Amateur scouting in itself is now way more detailed. You'll now see that there's a central scouting rank, so you'll have a central scouts rank as well as your scouts rank. So those may differ. In this case here with Johansson, my scout thinks the player is ranked 3. The central scouting has a rank 4. Central scouting will update throughout the course of the year, multiple times through the year, to sort of give you an accurate information on where central scouting thinks the player is. So if you don't end up scouting a player, say like Clemenson here, you have something to go off of. In addition to that, we have added a brand new scout card to represent the reports that we have. So the first thing you notice is this is the initial report. This is the summary. You'll have the central scouting rank, the play style, and scout rank, and then you'll have the junior stats for the player. Junior stats will accumulate throughout the course of the year for anyone that is playing in a league. So from
You know what? I'm going to keep it like this because I like it, and I'm going to do this. So, how we're going to work this? For like videos and live streams with no franchise, and that's it. I could do this for Fortnite. I could do this with everything else. I'm going to do this with no franchise. Franchise is going to be with OBS. I will talk after. Watch it.
From the USA leagues that we have to the WHL, these players will, if you send a player back, if you draft one of these players and send them back down, you'll also see them generating stats when they're in any of these leagues. So that's the first aspect of the scout card. The next aspect is the strengths and weaknesses. So you'll see here that Vitaly Popov here has a 200-foot game, offensive creativity, and playmaking ability, but his teammate utilization isn't great and his reach isn't great. You'll then also get a breakdown of his shooting, his puck skill, senses, skating, physical, and defense to sort of give you a better idea of what he excels at. So the last section here is the player personality and potential report. You'll see that the personality here, which plays into a role of chemistry. Those of you that played the mode in years past, you'll know that chemistry affects your locker room. In the locker room, if the locker room is good, it'll help you help your team gel and help you win more games. Whereas if you have bad chemistry, your team may not be able to overcome that lack of chemistry and may start losing games as a result. So you really want to pay attention to this, because having players that fit in well with the rest of your room will help you potentially win games. The next section after that is the similar style. So in this case, this player plays similarly to Nicholas Backstrom, which means he's going to potentially be an elite playmaker. His potential is also a medium elite, so he should become a really good player if he hits his ceiling. That's the amateur scouting card. There's one more thing that I want to show you. We also have a thing called gems and busts. Let's see if I got some. So my scouts only managed to spot a couple of busts in the draft. So these busts are basically players that your scout wants you to avoid if you can. You can still take the risk of drafting them if you would like, but the scouts are trying to tell you, hey, that this player may not be a good idea based off of their CS ranking and where your scout thinks where he is. So in this case, he's a 93. Your scout thinks he's a 93 ranking, where his CS ranking is 81. Lastly, you'll also notice these binoculars that are almost on every screen now within franchise mode. This is how you gauge the accuracy of the report type or the rating that the scout is looking at. So we have 5 different types of accuracies. We have accurate, semi-accurate, inaccurate, very inaccurate, and unknown. As the bars fill up, so the more and more accurate the information becomes. Whereas if you see question marks or a very dark gray tone, you'll know that it's an unknown quantity. One other thing, as I finish up amateur scouting here, is the ability to watch list players has become more and more important, as we've now added a draft board. The draft board allows you to, at a high level, take a look at players that you would like to sort of keep a closer eye on. So we've expanded the watch list to be a lot bigger than just the 5 players that you could add in previous years. So the watch list has become expanded. You now also get a recommendation from your scout based off of where you're kind of sitting at, based off of if you're a rebuilder or as you get closer to the draft where you're going to actually be picking. So in this case, the scout recommends that we take Skylar Clemenson. Because my team as a rebuilder is not doing really well. It's last in the Pacific Division right now. It recommends that we go in that direction. You'll also see that there's a depth chart that really gives you an idea where you sit amongst the rest of the league. The Canucks here have a weakness at top 6, top 9, and top 12 forwards, but they have good strength in depth forwards, top prospects, and forward prospects. And you'll also see the defensive depth chart as well as the goalie depth chart. These tools are all there for you to sort of get better information for you to make a choice when it comes to drafting, which once you get to the draft, you'll also notice that we worked on some of the CPU logic in the draft. The CPU will now make a short list and have a better idea of who they want to pick. So they will no longer just take the best available asset at all times. They'll actually look at their strengths and weaknesses, create a short list, and then draft based off of that short list. And if there's a player that's no longer on their short list, they may trade back in the draft, or if there's a player that they really want, they may trade up in the draft. I actually had Anaheim make a trade with me in the 4th round, all draft pick trade to move up in the draft with me, where I fall back so that they could take a player that they really wanted. So we haven't just done stuff for the user, we've also further expanded on the CPU logic. All right, the next thing I wanted to chat about was pro scouting and fog of war. What fog of war is the added complexity of masking a player's ratings. So in years past, you basically saw everyone's ratings at all times. However, now with fog of war, when turned on, you're now masking player ratings or hiding attributes in certain areas. When you start the mode, you'll actually get initial passer ratings, because obviously Alex Ovechkin, you're going to know who Alex Ovechkin is. But as the season progresses on, you'll start losing information on players. And it's really important at that point that you start either sending scouts out to look at those teams that you're interested in, and really scouting players that you're interested in for trades or other means of acquiring. I'll head into the view contract screen here. Let's go to Tampa Bay, and you'll notice that Braden Point here has 3-bar accuracy on his 87. Doesn't mean he's not an 87, but the scout is no longer sure that he's an 87 because it's been so long since he last saw him. Within this framework, if Braden Point was set to be an RFA in the upcoming year or a UFA in the upcoming year, I would want to go and scout him again, because just in case he's regressed or has increased in attributes throughout the year, just to get that extra bit of information. So you can now make mistakes as a general manager, so you'll want to go and scout a player before you make a trade or before you get into free agency, because otherwise you may make a mistake or may be overpaying or may not know the player's real skills at that point in time. So the other day I actually managed to trade for a Jeff Carter, I believe 3 years down the line in year 2022. His trade value is relatively high. I took the risk and I took a flyer on my scout's 3-bar accuracy on the player, and I ended up overpaying for Jeff Carter. And that's a mistake that you wouldn't really make in years past, because you would always have the most accurate information whenever they went up in overall, down in overall, whether it be because of statistical growth, morale, or naturally, you would always have that information. Where I was actually overpaying to LA to acquire a aging and declining Jeff Carter, even though the trade value had said that he was really, really high, and he had come back with the most accurate information. I would have then known that he was aging and wouldn't have paid the price that I actually paid. You'll notice that the Fog of War affects almost every aspect of their ratings. You'll see some ratings are still relatively known, other ratings are not known, but as time goes on, again, you'll start to lose that information. So the other cool thing with this is players that you acquire, when you acquire them, let's say I acquired a player that has no information on him. When he joins my team, I actually have no information on that player. For me to get that information on him, I would actually need to put him in the lineup and see him play. So the more and more they play, the more and more information they gain throughout the course of that time frame. So I won't really know what that player is until I see him play. And the same thing goes for injuries. If a player is hurt for an extended period of time, I won't know if I'll start losing information on them as well, because they don't actually I haven't actually seen them play since they've been scratched or since they've been injured. This also applies to rookies. So when you draft a rookie, you now no longer get the full information right away. So you won't know their overall. We'll copy over everything that makes sense from their amateur report into their pro report, but you won't have their overall, their individual attributes. You'll need to actually see them play in the preseason to evaluate their talent. Now, in that case, it makes the CHL 9-game trial more important, so that you can really evaluate and see if this, potential 75, 78 overall kid is really a 75, 78 in NHL quality, or do I send him back down to junior and track his progress through junior? It really adds extra wrinkle and makes the preseason way more important than it has been in the past. So now you need to actually set your lineups and make sure your young kids are playing in the preseason. Otherwise, you're not going to know, how good this kid is until they get into their CHL season. It is too late for you at that point to call them up. Really, that's the big thing we did with scouting, is overhaul it and have it really affect almost every aspect of your decision making within the game, from drafting to trading to free agency to waiver pickups. Everything that you do now requires you to have a good scouting staff and make sure that you're able to trust your scouts, so you can make and assess those acquisitions and trades. All in all, this year we've overhauled our amateur scouting. We've introduced pro scouting and Fog of War. We've also reintroduced player search into the game. You can now search players by name as well as other filters. We've tweaked prospect growth so that it's more natural and less random. And another big one that the community has been asking for, we've added 30-second expansion with custom rosters. So now you can edit the rosters and go in with custom rosters. This year's franchise mode is going to be one of the biggest that we've done, especially with the new scouting overhaul. And really hope you guys enjoy what we've done this year. It's been certainly fun working on it, and really itching to get your guys' hands on it.
Okay, so that was NHL 19 franchise mode, talking about it. So what I'm going to do I'm going to have two setups. This is going to be my NHL setup. And my other one, like this one, won't be my other setup. This one will be my Fortnite setup. How about that? So let me set up for Fortnite. So I'm going to set like Fortnite in here, so I know how it's going to set up. So this is NHL, that Fortnite. So I need another camera for NHL. This is going to be NHL Fortnite. And make sure it works. Yeah. A little laggy. There we go. Let's hit it right there. I need image. I need that thing. I like keeping this one in there. Know what? Do I? Wait, I don't know. Wait, this is for NHL Live. So I have to set up from here. Or no, I don't. So yeah, this is not the weird part because give me a sec. Wait, my chat. The chat not even working. I probably have to reset chat. You know what? Yeah, so what? I don't mind resetting the chat. I don't mind doing that. But yeah, like I can do that when I'm done. You know what? I'm going to end it right here. This is going to be like a full setup. Like my setup video. Like I'm going to have setups. Everything going to have setup. I kind of like this as like my thing because you guys can see chat. You can see everything. Like it's not that bad. Like if I go in here, I can see all my games. OBS will be only for franchise and computer games. My Elgato will be for anything that I have a console with. Okay? And I will record off of this. I will set it up for live streams and all that later. Bye. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, like that says. And I will set it up perfectly. Chat will be easy because all I have to do is for chat is pop this open and put the post thingy in there. Put it up there, fix it. I will do that in the video. I won't do that in the live stream or in the video. I will get to it like that. That's simple and easy. You guys can see everything. You guys know everything. Yeah, so I'll set up everything later. Make sure to like and all that. Bye. And this video will be posted tonight. Let you guys know what I'm doing. So OBS will be like not like computer games and like making videos and all that. I will post it on my Elgato because it really good graphics. So that NHL 19